Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, this is session 2 of our ongoing campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's second edition Traveler role-playing game. We are playing through, we're starting off the Pirates of Drinax epic campaign, sandbox campaign published again by Mongoose Publishing. With me are two of the regular fixtures of our Wednesday night games. First off, Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I am playing Captain Charlie Williams.
That is correct. And playing the washed out or ex-Navy character, Steve O.
Hello, ahoy! I am playing Commander Miltiades Gavros. Yes, a general ne'er-do-well and a retired naval officer.
Nice. Okay, guys, so I'm going to switch over to Roll20 here. And in the camera, so let's see here. Present to everyone. There we go. And I just got to turn off the camera here.
Oh, right.
Refresh in that. Let's see if this works. We shall see. I don't know why I was having so many problems on Friday. Yeah, it's working today. So I'll take that. Hey, Steve, I can actually see you in Roll20 now.
There you go.
We figured out how to fix it.
Use Firefox.
I mean, you. Awesome. Okay, and then Jeff, you are not showing up in...
it's just refreshing.
Hey, look at that. We got all of us. Wow. Big surprise for the evening. That bodes well. Okay, so who would like to do a recap of what happened last session?
Oh, man, it was a good session. We did some negotiating. We sold some ore. We got some new goods, and then
do you remember where you were?
We were on a Marduk space station.
Yep.
And we were about to buy a bunch of stuff that I wanted when suddenly the base was attacked, and while we were going to the surface, our shuttle was shot down, and we find ourselves marooned on Marduk.
Yeah. Jeff, anything to add to that?
Yeah, there was some kind of a princess or some high-rolling lady on the ship, and Miltiades was hitting on her and got shut down pretty hard.
Yes, he did.
Thanks for bringing that up.
So the other bit of stuff is, you guys had arrived here for... it was so Charles could meet up with an old flame of his from about 20 years ago, Amy Douglas, because Amy works for a massive corporation that is a power player in the sector called the General Development Corporation, or Judico. She works for Judico and said she had a job for Charles, and you were going down to the surface while your two crew members, Harv and Sorella Das, were amusing themselves on the high port. You guys were heading down to the surface, and that's when, as he said, the shuttle seems to have been shot down. So that's where we are picking up. The scene is with the emergency lights sort of flickering and flashing, and then the door burst open from the shuttle. And just to give you guys a reminder of what the well, here it's pretty good visual. And this is what the shuttle looks like. That's that shuttle map. Oops, I really should have done a scan of it or something, but you're not on the shuttle for long anyway, so I figured it wasn't really worthwhile. So the other, there are 4 other people on board here. 5 other people on board right now, plus the pilots if they survive the crash. But the door is open, and you guys know from the sort of welcome greeting that you got on your comms that the you can breathe the surface atmosphere, but it is tainted. So if you do it for terribly long, you're going to get ill. So why don't you pick up there? So the lights are now flickering as if the I think Charles, you've got a really good mechanic skill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
very good mechanics.
Yeah. So you can kind of tell that the lights on this are the power in this shuttle is likely to go out quite soon.
Is there anything that I think I can do?
To keep the power on, it's difficult. You guys are in the main cabin right now, where all the passengers are. So you're not sure what. I guess you're not really sure what happened. You think that it was maybe pirates from Ogma, because you guys know that that is what happens. Is that the neighboring system of Ogma is where these pirates tend to come from. They use these Jump One ships to come over here, raid the place for high-tech items and people with technical skills, and then take them back to keep their pirate vessels flying. The three people who were, the four people, one of them was that woman with light skin, dark hair, dark eyes, really beautiful, quite young, who, I mean, she's an adult, but she still is young. She's in her, early 20s, I believe. She had a great big, muscular bodyguard as well. She had two, but one of them died of shrapnel in the crash. And the other two people,
1 second.
The other three people were a Varger, who looks like that. He's wearing a big suit, had a briefcase with him. There's where is he? Boom. Another human, kind of rumpled looking, a little nervous. And there's a young woman, looks like that. He's carrying has a backpack on as well.
Right, and we went down. It's in water, correct, Kat?
No, you thought it looked like you may actually go down in the water, but thankfully just before you guys, or shortly before you guys hit the surface, you seem to be streaming or flying across solid land. So you're grateful that you didn't go down in the water. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you may have been, you got your bell rung pretty badly when you were trying to find your seat. It's actually in character for your character to be a little confused as to what the hell happened. But you're looking around, and unless one of you guys jumps up, the first person to sort of spring to action is that big guard who gets up and begins unstrapping the princess, and she seems to be pretty a little shit rattled. She's not losing her shit, like not crying or anything like that, but she does seem a little understandably rattled. The young woman who is Steve, I'll show Jeff your phone there. So there's a young woman on board as well. There is a Varger who's dressed in a business suit, and there he is, a human dressed in sort of rumpled, dark colored or drab kind of colored clothing. So the other passengers are sort of slowly getting themselves unbuckled and getting off and looking around, and the Varger says, "Well, what happened?" And the young woman says in a kind of an accented Galanglic, "Pirates." What do you guys do?
Mm-hmm. Oh, survey the ship for damage.
So from where you are, it's very difficult to see. Like I said, the lights are really flickering on and off, and excuse me.
We're just in the passenger cabin area.
Yeah, there is. I think you guys are familiar enough. You would know where the sort of the The engines are obviously at the back of the ship here. Where are we going? There we go. Right there. You see where I'm pointing?
Yeah. So is nothing coming across from the captain or the crew of the ship?
No, and the ship itself, like when you if you unbuckle your restraints and you stand up, the ship itself is sort of pitched forward at an angle.
Now, if I remember correctly, we didn't bring any of our weapons with us.
You can bring anything that is like your static blades you could have brought, and any pistol. So Steve's got his body pistol, he said, but unless you've got a pistol, nothing larger was allowed on the station.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna try to head forward and see if any of the crew or captain of the vessel is alive.
Sure. Okay, so you make your way up there. There is an airlock separating the pilot's chamber from yours, from the rest of the cabin. So you get up there, and again, the power's sort of fluctuating. So maybe why don't we get some dice rolling here? Why don't you give me a let's see here. Give me a mechanics check with I think does mechanics use intellect or education? I should have
education.
Education, great. So it should be key to the right thing. And I'll I think no banes or boons here.
Okay, so if I just click on it, it'll roll it.
It should roll it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. Oh, I guess the extra 6 there, that's what you would roll in your bane or boon. Oh, that's very cool. Okay, so yeah, that's great. So you're able to sort of, pull open the control panel, and you use maybe like a multi-tool or something like that you've got with you. You get in there and start fiddling around, and then the door kind of slides partway open, and then it sort of catches. And from the flickering of the lights behind you, there's no light in the pilot's cabin. The airlock slides open enough for you to maybe fit, like you could squeeze. No, sorry, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. It does actually slide the whole way open. And what you can see is that the front end of the cockpit seems to have taken the brunt of the impact from the crash, and the pilots are sort of sandwiched between the seats and the kind of control panel. They are, yeah, I mean, the state that their bodies are in, you assume that they're dead. There's
okay.
There's not a way that a person could survive that kind of impact. Steve, what are you doing right now?
Let's see. Maybe because I do have some slight medical training, maybe I'll check out the other passengers.
Okay. Who do you go to first? There's the young woman, there's the Vargur, there's the kind of middle-aged man, and then there's the princess and her bodyguard.
Maybe I go to the person who's sitting closest, which, let's say it's the man, if you don't have a better idea.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so you head over to the man, and he do you say something? He's sort of getting up and he's sort of getting his bearings. Seems like that.
I say, how you doing? You got any injuries? Yeah.
No, I'm fine. Thank you. But
all right.
What happened?
Apparently it was pirates.
Now
we got a problem.
Sort of walks over and she says, "It will be, and they'll be on their way. We shouldn't stay here long." And again, she's got that a bit of a. You can imagine her having a bit of an accent.
Okay. Well, if you say so, Your Highness.
The young woman, not the princess.
Gotcha.
The Vargur sort of gets up and walks over, still, and again carrying his briefcase, his suit's a little rumpled. And he says, "What's that about pirates?"
Sorry, what?
What's that about pirates?
It would appear as though we were downed by pirates.
Oh.
And they'll probably be on their way.
Oh, and he's got both hands on his briefcase now, and the princess sort of walks over and says, "So we were downed by pirates then, kidnappers, or is this just?"
Well, if they knew who was on board, then maybe they're kidnappers.
She sort of considers, and her bodyguard is standing there as well. He goes over to the corpse of his colleague. He unstraps the belt that the guy had on, which has, and sort of pulls the. No, actually, he wouldn't take her. He takes the belt off, which has the laser pistol that the other bodyguard was carrying. He brings it over to the princess, and she takes it and puts it around her waist. And then he goes off and starts looking for, rooting around through the sort of luggage containers, trying to find something. And she says, "Well, what do we do now then? We can't. I understand that the pirates from Ogma are kidnappers. They will take anyone with any knowledge, or any of you engineers, mechanics, scientists." And the
Yeah, we got some of that.
Sort of says, "I'm a lawyer," and she sort of rolls her eyes. And the younger kid says, "We shouldn't stay." And she throws a shoulder bag over her shoulder and starts looking around. The princess then sort of surveys the surroundings. Says, "Well, is there anything to take with us? Do we leave empty-handed, or?" And
is there any survival gear?
Yeah. See, that's what I'm actually doing in the front, Kev, is I'm looking for weapons.
Sure. So you get in there and you're looking around. Yeah, I'm going to assume that you're sort of doing that that thing that you do with a cell phone, where you sort of like put the screen on bright and you're looking around.
Yeah.
We're going to assume there's maybe like a light app on it as well too. It's not going to be terribly as effective as like a like what an actual flashlight would be, but you've got at least enough light to look over. So you're looking around in here, and I think you're familiar enough with these types of things that there's always going to be, there may be some weapons up here as well, but there will also always be a survival kit. It's just not, it's standard issue on any kind of vessel like this.
Okay.
It would be like unbelievably irresponsible to not have survival gear on a ship like this. So it doesn't take you much searching to find that there is a sort of like a panel that you sort of push and it opens up, and what it conceals is a shotgun. So there, you pull that out, and you can see that there are. You look at it, and it's loaded, and then there are. When you pull it down, there's a sling that has 6 additional shots on it.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay, so you sort of throw that over your chest. You also look around, and there is there's like bridge snacks. There is a couple bottles of water that are lying around on the floor. There is a bridge medical kit, but then there is also a larger survival kit that is sort of designed for the passengers on this thing. You'll need someone's help to sort of pull this thing out, but if you got someone else to assist you, you could probably drag this thing out, and get it somewhere where it's brighter and get a better sense. The sun is going down outside, but it is still up at this point. So what are you guys doing?
Well, I assume you tell me about the stuff.
Yeah, I'll bring it out and say, here's some supplies. Maybe this can help us survive make it to safety.
Great.
Okay. Once you pull it out of its housing, you it kind of clunks down, and then there are cords to drag it, like it's something that's designed to be dragged away from a crash. So the two of you grab cords and start pulling this thing along. It's a container is a tough bag, which can be used as a life raft by inflating its frame or converting it into a shelter. You guys are familiar. You're both seasoned starfarers, so you know that that's what can be done with this is sort of a multi-purpose. Making the most out of the material in the kit. You guys do know, though, that these things are notoriously a pain in the ass to put together. So you pull this thing out, and then I'll just, rather than having you guys, role play through going what's, in each individual thing, there are, so within the actual kit itself, there is a rifle as well with 50 rounds, 50. There is a hatchet. There is a field medical kit. There are 12 personal survival kits, and I'll tell you what's in those in a moment. There are 12 sets of emergency cold weather clothing. There are 12 combination masks plus extra filters, which would be helpful in this environment. There are field rations for 60 person days. So it's designed as 5 days for 12 people. But with the, 6 of you guys? 7 of you, then you could stretch it, I guess, quite a bit longer. There are 4 bulk water storage containers with filters. There are 4 cold light lanterns or beacons that are good for about 100 hours of operation each. And there is a water purification kit. So you drag out and you find all this stuff in there. If you find the rifle, none of the other passengers, go for that. The princess is now wearing. She was wearing like kind of a fancy looking, an expensive looking dress beforehand. Not like a ball gown or anything like that, but just something that was quite, quite stylish and clearly expensive. She's now wearing a more practical kind of set of expensive looking coveralls and a jacket on top as well. But no one else goes for that rifle. So if one of you guys wants to take that, you're welcome to it.
Sure, sounds good. Maybe do some hunting.
Okay. And so all that stuff. What do you guys want to do with that? I'll tell you what's in the personal survival kit. There is in each of these a small knife, fire starting equipment. There's a cold light flashlight, good for about 24 hours of operation. There are 6 chemical light sticks, good for about 12 hours each. So those are the kind of like little, you break them and then you shake them. There's a blanket and poncho and a head cover. There are 4 days of preserved rations for 1 person. There's a water bottle, a compass, a light cord, so like a rope, mirror, water purification tablets, and a survival manual.
Nice.
So, as you're looking through this, the younger woman grabs one of the packs and sort of throws it on her back, and then puts her shoulder bag back over that as well. The middle-aged guy sort of sees that, and he goes and grabs one as well and puts it over his back, and both the princess and the bodyguard do the same. And the Vargur, sort of realizing that everyone else is doing that, he goes over and awkwardly puts one over his suit. What are you guys doing?
I don't know. I guess do you want some of this? I guess we should take some survival gear too.
Yeah, I was thinking let's take the works. Let's just
I guess whatever people aren't grabbing, then I don't know how much we can carry.
Just drag it.
If you drag the entire thing, you're likely to exhaust yourself at some point. Unless you get unless you like 2 turns. You're looking around, and what's stretching out around you is, a sort of a featureless, wasteland. That's the only sort of like foliage or the only thing that breaks up the endless tracks of drab, brownish gray earth is patches of what you would consider like brambles, and they're fairly large patches as well. So it's going to be tough going wherever you're going. The young woman steps forward again, or sort of looks in, says, "We shouldn't tarry here." And then the Vargur says, "Oh God, look!" And if you guys look up, what you see is a small black dot that seems to be getting larger in the sky, that seems to be moving towards you. From the rough shape that you can see, well, actually, why don't you guys give me, let's see here, is it perception?
Intellect?
Not just intellect. No, it won't be a raw. I think there's a skill that deals with. I think it's recon, maybe. One little pet peeve with this fucking book is that it's a great book. It's a great game. Why they didn't put the fucking character sheet at the end of the book is beyond me. Same thing. Why there's no glossary in the core book. Every subsequent book does have it in it, but it's like, why the fuck would you not put a glossary in this book?
Recon.
Crazy. I mean, I guess page count.
If we don't.
Okay, so I think it's recon.
Okay. If we don't have recon.
If you're not training recon, then it will be. Hold up.
Administration.
It will absolutely not be administration. Yeah, so it will then be an intellect check with -3 to the result.
Alrighty.
So I think one of you guys is training recon.
I don't have recon.
Okay, so let's click on int, and you'll get a -3. Steve, are you trained in recon? Maybe I'm thinking of Brent's character.
Modifier -3. I am not trained in recon.
No,
I probably should be.
Do I type -3 or no?
Yeah, -3.
Like type that into the modifier box?
Yes, please. Oof.
Noise.
You guys can't see it. All you see is just some black smudge against the cloud-filled sky. What are you gonna do?
Ooh, well, maybe I guess we just grab the weapons and a personal kit and maybe run for it.
I don't know. How do you feel, Steve, about protecting this princess character, or if we should separate ourselves from them?
There might be a reward in it for it, and then those two guys look pretty tough. So,
do you think we might be better off staying with them?
Do you guys
maybe?
Are either of you guys trained in survival?
Survival. Yes. No. Well, I am, but I don't have any skill levels in it.
No, if you got a 0, that means you're trained in it.
Yeah, I am trained.
So, yeah, then that's fine. So, staying in groups is like going off on your own is a terrible fucking idea if you're lost in the wilderness, which what you guys are.
Right, but if pirates are coming to kill some of the people that you're with, you might be better off to not be near them.
Honestly, guys, of everyone who you've met so far, who do you think are the two most attractive targets?
I don't know. I would still think it might be the princess if they have any idea.
Remember what they're rating for.
Yeah.
Technical skills and the ability to keep their pirate ships flying.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we'll go wherever they're going then.
Well, they're taking their lead from you. Guys, I'm going to ask you to take a little more initiative with your characters here. This isn't an adventure of you guys passively watching other people have an adventure. It's supposed to be you guys having an adventure.
Right. Okay. Well, then what's the terrain around here? What do we see when we get outside the ship?
Well, I described that. You guys have seen that there is effectively like a wasteland around you guys. Remember that this place was basically, nuclear bombed into ruin at the time of the Sindalan Empire, and that there are just small xenophobic groups of humans that live on these island chains, and that the mainland is supposed to be completely abandoned.
Okay, well then let's head in the direction that the ship is facing, assuming that the pilots knew which way they were going.
Okay. So what do you say?
Sure.
I'll say exactly that. I'll say, I would assume that the pilots knew which way to fly to where we were headed. I think we should go in the direction the ship's facing.
Okay. So they sort of, the group of passengers sort of all look at each other and then decide that sounds like as good of an idea as any. The young girl is the first one to go, and then the rest are following you guys. So you can hear, I think, the sound of because the only other sound in here is just the wind blowing across the terrain. The fact that the sun is going down is probably going to be helping you a bit, but you can hear the sort of roar of a spacecraft's engines from behind you, so there is something coming in for a landing. The going across the terrain is tough, only because you keep hitting these patches, these wide sort of like hedges almost of brambles that come up about 2 feet high, and they're really tough to step through or walk through. But if you try and wind your way around, you find them going on for a very, very long time. What do you guys do?
Was there a compass with any of the stuff that we found?
There is.
Okay, I'll try and use the compass to at least keep a bearing, like I stated, of in the direction the ship was heading. Because sounds like with this brambles, we're going to be taking a very circuitous route.
Yeah. You do have something on you that might help with that, though.
Like my protect suit?
No, I'm thinking about another piece of equipment you guys each carry.
Oh, our blades.
Yeah.
For cutting through there.
Mm-hmm.
Should be very good.
Yeah, I think that moving quickly might be better than worrying about blazing a path that the pirates can follow.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's a good thought. Okay, so why don't you guys let's see here. Neither of you are trained in recon, so what I'll do is I'll get you guys to both make another recon check, but I'm going to give you a boon on it. So you'll get to add that to your result. You still take the -3 modifier because of unskilled, but let's see how you do. It'll just be intellect again.
Wait, do I type -3 into this window?
Yes.
Okay.
Into the modifier, and then how do we do the boon?
It automatically rolls one.
Yeah, and we add it to it. So, okay, Captain Williams is. Yeah, yours is terrible. Holy shit. So, Captain Williams, you're the one who's sort of taken the lead here. So you're able to lead the group along, and you're fairly confident that there isn't a trail that you're leaving behind you. As the sun is sort of getting a little lower, the temperature right now is what is it on here?
Yeah, I guess one question is, do we need to be making camp for the night?
Well, the sun does seem to be going down. Like it's going to be down within a couple of hours. Would you make a survival check for me, Jeff? Steve, are you trained in survival?
No.
No? Okay, so then it will be just a... Actually, you know what, guys? I can actually... Hold on.
Nice.
Give me a second. I got an easier way to I got a way to fix this. Is I'll just I'm gonna put all the skills on your sheet, and it should you'll need to set the appropriate attribute or characteristic for it.
Oh, but then we can actually roll them.
Yeah, then you just roll that rather than having to, because it will default to you not being trained in it.
Oh yeah, I see that -3. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you will just need to add the ability, and then I'll tell you what that is in a sec here. So I think you're good to go here, Jeff. And let me just do that for you too, Steve-O.
Nice.
Yeah, they're really nice character sheets for whoever did the coding for the Traveler character sheets in Roll20. I greatly appreciate it. You saved us a bunch of work. Okay. So you should have all your skills listed there now, Steve-O. And I'll tell you what. It's on the. So I was checking to see if it's on the DM screen. I got my DM screen set up here now too. Okay. Survival and education roll, please.
Education roll.
Yeah. So it'll. Well, no. What you need to do is toggle down the little drop-down menu. So you're adding your education modifier on survival, and then click on that, please.
All right.
Whoa, nice roll.
Input value. Click. 4.
Okay. So this is really out of your element, Steve. Like you spent the vast majority of your career in orbit, right? Like maybe you've gone camping before, maybe, but most of your time has been spent on starships or larger fleet style craft, or on space stations, or in like civilized starports. Jeff, you have had a little more of a rough and tumble life as a scout, as a merchant marine, and as a pirate.
Right.
You can see that it looks like there's rain coming in tonight as well.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll actually tell everybody that. I'll say, it looks like we're going to get some rain tonight. Everybody keep your eyes open for some shelter.
Okay. So the sort of tubby guy says, well, how am I supposed to keep, I can't see a thing here. And he says, where's that flashlight? And the young woman sort of steps forward and says, no, they'll see. We can't use that. He says, well, I can't see. How am I supposed to keep an eye out for shelter? Doesn't even look like there's shelter here anyway. The Vargur steps forward and says, excuse me, sir, forgive my rudeness. My name is Evan. And he sort of gestures to you, Jeff.
Hi, Evan.
And
what would you like to say?
You are... He's sort of waiting to hear your name.
Oh, sorry. I'm Charlie.
Charlie, my name is Evan. This does not seem to be the first time that you have, and he's still gripping his briefcase as well. This doesn't seem to be the first time that you have experienced something like this. Do you know where we're going?
I don't know where we're going, but I have experience with pirates.
The princess steps forward. She says, you can smell your own then, can you?
Yeah, what of it of you?
And then the tubby guy sort of looks back and forth. He's like, wait, you're with them? You're
not with them. What do you mean? I worked for them in a different life.
You worked with... That may not be something you would want to necessarily admit, because you're effectively... Like, you're a criminal then.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a pirate.
Well,
then I've dealt with pirates before.
The princess sort of cocks an eyebrow and she says, you are military then?
Yes. I was a Where is that on my sheet? I was a sergeant with the, I don't remember the name of them.
It was the third. You were with the Third Imperium's Merchant Marine.
With the Merchant Marines.
Really? And your colleague?
I was a commander in the Navy.
You were in the Imperial Navy, and you the
Indeed.
Imperial Merchant Marine.
That's correct.
So the Vargas says, then your military men, will they be coming?
Well, it would appear so.
No, he's asking if the military will be coming.
Oh, well, I'm ex-military. I don't think they'll be coming for me at this point. Maybe if we can get word out.
Remember that the Trojan. Well, no, because remember that the Trojan reaches. Couple factors you need to bear in mind about the Traveler universe. One, that the Trojan reaches are the fucking like the wilds. This is the wildest of the wild sort of west space. The Trojan reaches are full of barbarians and pirates and warlords ruling planets and stuff like that. It is way outside the actual direct reach of the Third Imperium. More to the point, remember that communication travels at the speed of a ship, because there's no such thing as faster than light communication. So
right.
So if it was pirates who attacked the high port and you guys, the only way that anyone's going to know outside of the system that happened is if they jump to another system and tell them. And remember, it's a week of travel with every jump.
Right.
So you are.
I think. No, the only chance that we have for survival rests within this group right here.
Evan sort of looks around, still holding his briefcase, and says, "Oh, all right. All right. So, what do you suggest?" And the princess sort of like arcs an eyebrow at first, as if she's weighing whether to, play the whole like "who put you in charge" kind of thing. But then she decides to stay silent and just wait and see. I
look at her and I say, "Is anyone going to be coming to your rescue?"
She sort of looks at you, kind of surprised, and then looks at her bodyguard, and he looks to be honest, looks a little concerned. And she looks back and she says, "There is no rescue party waiting, but if we can get word to the high port, we can. There will be someone who will retrieve us. Can you keep us safe until then? Can you find a way for us to communicate with the high port, assuming that it's still up there?"
So the high port is the station that we left from?
Yeah, Marduk High Port is the space station around. The most common way of referring to whether a spaceport is in orbit or on planet is high port, low port.
Okay.
The tubby guy sort of is looking back and forth between you guys, and he says, "Who are you?" And to the princess, and she looks at him and says, "That's none of your concern." And finally, you actually hear that big bodyguard speak, and he says just 3 simple words, staring at this guy. "It is not," to sort of emphasize the princess's point.
Alrighty.
Says, "Did you introduce yourself as Charlie or Charles, Jeff? I can't remember."
Charlie.
Charlie. Steve, would you introduce yourself as? Or did you?
I guess I did. Did I introduce myself? I guess I would have introduced myself as Miltiades. I would have called myself.
Okay.
Maybe Commander. Yeah.
So she sort of looks at the group of you, and she says, "My name is Rao, and this is Nebetka." And the big guy sort of nods. And again, like these guys are you know, like 6'4", 6'5", all fucking solid muscle. There's a bit of a militaristic flair to their uniform. He's got very, very closely cropped hair. Yeah, and he has. Let me think here. Why don't you guys give me? There's a chance that you may recognize the cut of his uniform, which may give you clues to who the hell this person is. So I think it would be. Let's see here. What sort of there's no academics kind of thing here. There's no scholar skill. So maybe what I'll just get you to do is just make an education check, I think. No boons, no banes. It's just the difficulty for that's gonna be a little higher.
So just roll intellect?
Yeah, just no education. Just education.
Where's education?
It's
blam.
yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
One of your characteristics.
Right, I see.
Okay. Whoa, Miltiades, nice roll. So, Miltiades, you know, having served in the military, you sort of, I guess, have a mind for different, like for the variety of like pocket armies that you've seen throughout the sector. This guy's wearing something that is, I believe they're called the Hawk Guards. I may need to correct that once I look it up again, but where they're from is a planet called Drinax. And you rolled quite well. Drinax is kind of like was the last gasp of the Sindalan Empire. When the Sindalan Empire collapsed, there was a Drinax or Drinaxian empire that sort of took over, was as a successor state, and it was based on the planet of Drinax. About 200 years ago, 200 years ago? Maybe it's 200 years ago, I think. The Drinaxians got a little too big for their britches, and they hacked off the Aslan Hierate. You remember those are the big cat people, the ones who are in the sort of the bottom corner of the sector?
Right.
Right.
Drinax is very close to the border with the Aslan Hierate. The Drinaxi got a little too big for their britches, so the Aslan arrived. They bombed their, they bombed the surface of the planet back to the basically like the Bronze Age, but they spared the incredibly high-tech floating palace of Drinax. And ever since then, there's been this basically the remnants of an incredibly advanced civilization that's where the only thing that's left is this one flying palace that is the size of a small city, but they don't really, it's really like fading glories from this. But it does appear that this guy is a member of this sort of storied and ancient order. You roll well enough to suggest if this guy is the Hawk Guards are normally they use like these anti-grav belts in order to fly, because again it's a flying city, so they'll fly around. This guy doesn't seem to have that on him. The Hawk Guards are sort of like the royal guards of the Drinaxian royal family. So who do you think this would be then?
Drinaxian royal family.
With a roll that good too, I guess you may remember that you don't know the family necessarily, but the name of the current ruler is a guy named King Oleb the 16th.
All right. Oleb.
Yeah. So the clouds seem to be getting in closer, and it looks like it's going to be raining. Without sort of asking for it, you're sort of studying the big guy's uniform there, Steve-O. Charlie, I'm not sure what you're doing at this point, but there's a bit of a lull in the conversation as everyone's sort of studying each other. And then the young woman steps forward and just says, Kareen, and sort of looks back and forth at you guys. She seems to be introducing herself, just not super chatty.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Kareen.
So the only person who you haven't met is the tubby guy, tubby middle-aged guy. He's still cursing at the ground, and he's breathing a little heavy because having to, he's carrying a little extra weight.
Right.
What do you guys want to do?
Well, yeah, Jeff.
I guess just keep moving forward is all I was going to say. I mean, I'll just say it's nice to have these formal introductions, but time is of the essence here.
And Kareen says, the pirates, and sort of gestures back towards the direction that you came from. As if to say, like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
So you guys get going again. You travel for about another hour. The sun's getting lower and lower at this point. And that's when you sort of realize that let's see here. Oh, no, it's not important. You guys are sort of noticing, I think it's you probably, Charlie, that notices this because you actually have experience in survival, but it seems like that there's a bit of a change in the terrain. You can actually see, instead of the sort of flat, terrain that's just filled with, those hedges of brambles, you're finding that there are small little mounds. And as you're walking along, the dirt seems a little more fine.
Okay.
And there are oddly regular areas where the undergrowth is small and patchy, as if the soil underneath was very thin. What do you guys do? Just keep on going, or?
Yeah, I don't know how much that helps us.
Okay. So as you walk along, you can see that there is one of these mounds where, well, actually, why don't you guys both give me another recon check? And I think, are you guys using your flashlights at this point, or are you still kind of going along in the dusk?
Well, try.
I'll tell you, here's the benefit. If you're not using your flashlights, then I will impose a bane, I think.
Okay.
On it, just because it'll be. Or actually, no, I won't do that. What I'll do is that the difficulty will be higher. So I think the boon and the bane is supposed to be like. Actually, hold on. It's the first time we're running this. Let me see what I can't remember if it's a situational. If the boon and bane mechanic is supposed to be situational thing or like a tool thing, or whether it's just like we would in Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Right.
There will likely be situations that arise that will make things either easier or harder for the travelers. If the traveler has help, good tools, competent aids, or other beneficial circumstances, you get a boon. If you're hindered in a check, such as poor tools, dimly lit environment, or other negative things, he receives a bane. So yeah, there'll be a bane on this, unless you're using your flashlight. That'll offset it.
Okay.
I'm trying to find my difficulty here. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Yeah. So were you guys using your flashlights or not?
No, I don't think we were.
Don't think you were. Okay, so then, no. Okay, so neither of you guys are spot anything. Whoa, -1.
Nice.
-1 and a bane
I had
of
a
5.
6 before.
Okay, so actually -6. You know what, Steve? I think I need you to make an agility check for me, please. 1 sec here.
Oh.
It's not agility. I gotta get wrong goddamn game again. Hold on. I got your character sheet sitting right here. Here we go. Here we go. I need you to make a dexterity check for me, please.
All right.
Let me think. Is there any banes or boons there? I don't think so. If you're trained in athletics, I'll let you use that.
Use athletics?
If you have any training in athletics, you're welcome to use that. If you don't have training in athletics, then just a dexterity. I'm not going to impose the -3.
I do have training in athletics. Yeah.
Sweet. So go ahead and give me an athletics check.
All right.
And I think again, I'm going to impose a bane. I'm going to impose a bane here because it's dark.
It says a characteristic for athletics is social.
Oh, change it. Okay, Steve. Just because it's on there doesn't mean you're trained in it.
Okay. Well, it says trained. There's a tick for it.
There is a tick for trained. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make your roll.
6.
Okay, so unfortunately, because of the bane, because it's dark, you aren't really you don't see where you're going, and you sort of stumble and fall to the ground, and you take 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage.
What you do is hold up. Yeah, you went down. You eat dirt like yeah. You go down pretty hard. So your temporary now is oops, hold on here. It's not education. Your dexterity is going to go down by 5. No, sorry. It's your endurance that'll go down because you lose that first.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So yeah, so you hit the. Did I say 4 or 5? I can't remember.
4.
4. Okay. Yeah. So you hit the ground and you like land squarely on your like your right elbow, and you're like, oh, and you're pretty sure something was injured there, and you get up and you realize that looking back, you think that you tripped over something and you managed to knock away some of the creepers that had grown up around it, and you recognize that it's actually the remnants of some kind of wall. You hit the ground and you sort of look and you start recognizing that, of course, like there's no straight lines in nature. You realize that where some of the thinner patches of soil are, that those must have been roads. You guys are actually standing in the remnants of a city.
Oh, that's fortuitous.
Well, it could be. Remember the history of this place?
Right.
Yeah. So this, I mean, it's likely been so long that there isn't any nuclear concern, like no radiation concern from these things. But one of the other types of weapons that were used by the Sindalan Empire and in the people who sort of threw them off was biological and chemical. And those things are a lot more persistent.
Right.
So, as you guys are going as well too, so the do you say anything to Miltiades when he fucking hits the ground like that?
I noticed it.
Oh yeah, like I mean, because you guys are all walking along in effectively in like silence. All you're hearing is sort of a crack of the your footprints. Both of your cameras are frozen, by the way.
Yeah, we know. Oh, I know.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to last very long.
That's weird. Am I frozen, or are you seeing me move?
No, you're frozen on my screen. Actually, you froze on my screen before Steve did.
Oh, that's weird. So you guys are frozen on mine. Are your cameras still moving?
On my
Google Hangouts.
20, yes.
On Google, yeah, on Firefox, I can see myself moving. On
But not us?
on Google Hangouts, I can see you moving on Firefox.
Oh, weird. Yeah. So that is weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just going to refresh quickly here and see what whether I can get the cameras set up again. But yeah, you guys are walking along and effectively like, silence. Okay, I think Steve, you're moving again, and Jeff, you're moving again.
Okay.
So when that happens, I just need to refresh my camera. So yeah, you do see him hit the ground hard, and he sort of, and the tubbier guy sort of turns and what was that?
Sorry, it was just me hitting the ground.
Okay, so you get to your feet. Jeff, what are you doing?
Well, taking a moment to survey the area. Maybe I'll turn my flashlight on for, I don't know. What terrain level are we in here? Like, are we flat? Are we on a hill? Are we
Still
on an incline? It's just all flat.
All flat, yeah. Like that's the thing. Like this. It's as
the
if
direction we come was all flat.
yes. Like everywhere you've been going, this place looks like a wasteland. You flick your light on. You're sort of looking around, and there appears to be sort of the remnants of the of like a road maybe here, but it's a very, like I said, it's sort of like how your eye can pick up that there is smaller patches of growth in certain areas because the soil is just thinner in those areas. As you or when you fell as well too, Steve, there was this sort of like this fluttering of birds that all sort of took off in flight from the bushes. They're very small, maybe the size of like a sparrow.
Okay.
But you can see sort of as you get yourself up, rub your your elbow. Yeah, like geez, it's those rain clouds are looking like they're coming in pretty close. So the princess sort of steps forward and says, "Well, what do we do? Do we just keep going?"
Well, maybe it's best that we don't get soaked to the bone. Maybe we should make camp. Maybe there'll be a building around.
You hear again sort of that like flittering of birds, and there's a bit of a yeah. You know what? Like it's weird because Jeff, when you've been out before at night, there's one of the you would be expecting to hear the sounds, or at least at dusk, you would expect to hear the sounds of nocturnal insects coming out. There's none of that.
Right. Like no sound of insects at all. That's just creepy.
Yeah.
Busy sparrows.
Looking around, now that you got your light up, what were your perception rolls? As we can see here, or your recon rolls? Okay, so actually, Charlie, now that you got your light up and you're looking around, you can clearly see that this is this is the bombed out ruins of a city. This is probably near the epicenter of whatever wiped out this place, because everything's been pounded to almost flat back into the earth from which it came. But you think yeah, you can't really see at dusk sort of what what direction to go here, and those you can't see that the clouds are coming in pretty fast and looking pretty angry as well. there's going to be some rain pretty soon. What do you guys want to do?
Maybe we should think about using our filters, our air filters.
I'm assuming you guys have been wearing those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I assume that you guys had those on because otherwise, you were aware that there were, that the atmosphere was tainted.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
We need to be very careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to find shelter of some sort and hide out this rain.
The princess seems to be nodding towards you, and the tubby guy says, "What rain? What shelter? Look around. There's nothing here."
We will find something.
On this godforsaken world?
Yes, just follow our lead.
What, the one should be following you, or the one who's tripping over things in the darkness?
You're welcome to go your own way.
He sort of, do you say that in a threatening way or just sort of a casual way?
Casual, amusing way.
Okay. So he sort of, stammers and then fairly quickly shuts up. So, what are you going to do then? You've probably got, just from past experience, I guess actually that's not true. It's difficult because it's a different size planet, so the rotation will be different. So I'm assuming what you've been doing, Jeff, is that you've been sort of keeping an eye on how fast the sun is going down to estimate how much daylight you've got left.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't think we have very much at all.
No, it doesn't seem like there's an enormous amount of daylight left. So are you going to keep going in the direction you were going? You made an assumption that these guys were trying to land in a specific direction. Would you guys
that's all we really had to go on. So yeah.
So why don't you guys both give me a piloting check, please? No banes, no boons.
Okay.
Piloting Starcraft.
And that's education or is that intellect?
It is. Let's look here. So each of the, it's neat because it's more realistic, I guess. But you actually, depending on what you're trying to do, it depends.
Right.
So with this one, normally it would be agility, but I think it'll be intellect actually, because you're trying to figure something out. You're not trying to base it on your education. So it'll be piloting and intellect, please.
Oh, so change the drop down to intellect?
Yes, please.
Oh, cool.
Kablam.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. Nice. So, Charlie, it dawns on you that something that you had sort of noticed from last, was something actually that Miltiades recognized from last session. As you guys were going down, like those shuttles that you guys were riding in, those things kind of handle like pigs. Like they're not the most aerodynamic thing. They'll get the job done, but like by no means are they designed to engage in any kind of air-to-air combat or anything like that. So the fact that they were able to avoid two missiles that were fired at them is a big deal. The fact that they were able to steer this thing towards land was a testament to the skill of those pirates. Well, the pilots, not pirates. The pilots who, if again, like their job is as a glorified bus driver, right? They're shuttle pilots in the sense of like they're shuttling someone from one place to another over and over and over again.
So these are probably decent pilots.
The evidence would suggest that they're, decent pilots because you guys are alive, that the thing came down in one piece. But you're not sure that they're skilled enough to be able to pick a specific location. And also, again, like as far as you guys know, unless you're on one of the islands where those like xenophobic survivors from when 2,000 years ago when this whole region was, bombed into the Stone Age. There's no settlements on the mainland that you know of. So,
Oh, so where were we heading to?
in the direction that they've crashed,
No, like where were we taking this shuttle to?
you were taking the shuttle to the low port. But the low port is built on an artificial archipelago.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, you were still a ways off, like an hour and a half off from landing, so you're nowhere near the low port right now.
Oh, I see. Okay, we're very far away.
Yeah.
Oh, so then if we were an hour and a half flight away, we can't hike to where we were going.
No, and the reason I mentioned that whole spiel with the the fact that they were not combat pilots and they were able to avoid that, it may have taken every ounce of skill that they had to be able to do that, which means that and evasive maneuvers don't keep you on course terribly well. So who the hell knows where you've come down?
So really, we just need to try and stay alive until the morning, and we can get some bearing on where we are.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad strategy.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just begin looking for any kind of shelter.
Okay.
A cave, an old, I don't know if there's anything. Like you said, this was an old cityscape, so.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this thing was, through a combination of nuclear weapons and what do they call it? They call it artillery, orbital artillery. This planet was so. That's not to say. I mean, like there could be like maybe basements or something like that that maybe survived. Do you want to like keep moving, or do you want to try and like search here to try and find some kind of shelter like that, or do you want to just make camp here?
I guess it might be worth just making camp here.
Steve, what do you think?
I'll go with the guy who has training in survival.
Okay, so it's effectively going to be, assuming that you guys took the tarp with you, it'll be one big shelter that you're going to make. I'll get you to make a survival check with one boon, or with a boon, I should say. Let's see if you, as I said, these things are really tricky to put together. I'm just gonna see if you're able to get it together before before the sun goes down. Kareen is really keen on you not having your lights on. Like if you set this thing up, remember it's basically the canvas bag that the survival kit was in. You're going to be using poles and stuff like that to put this thing up into a big structure or shelter. Nice. Okay, well your roll was good enough. So yeah, so you're able to, it's been a while, and I think there's maybe a couple false starts just based on your roll, but you are able to get the shelter together. And it's effectively like, just as there's a little bit of sprinkling, coming down, as you and Miltiades and Kareen are putting this thing together, there's a bit of, the other three passengers are sort of startling at the sound, or the four passengers are sort of startling at the sound of birds, because there's birds that are sort of landing in a lot of the bushes that are near you, or the brambles.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're basically setting it up in the flat open. So the wind is picking up a little bit as the rain begins to fall, but you've got yourself a shelter together. Now, the shelter does not conceal your light whatsoever. So if you want to avoid looking like a giant landing symbol, you're going to want to keep all of your lights off.
Okay.
So it's together. What do you guys do?
I really think we should sleep in shifts.
Sure.
Okay.
1 or 2
So-
on watch. Sure.
Nebetka insists on keeping watch. That's Rao's bodyguard.
Okay.
Evan sort of says, "Oh, okay, I can." That's the Barger. I can do that. The tubbier guy, whose name you still don't know, he does not volunteer to do that, but Kareen does.
Okay.
The young woman. So how long? You all have comm devices, which will effectively give you your, be able to track the time. How long do you want to spend amongst the lot of you?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess only an hour or two guard duty. So, Steve, maybe me and you should, one of us should stay awake.
Sure.
So, like, why don't you get like a couple hours sleep, and then I'll get a couple hours sleep, kind of thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
stay
first
up with
watch.
the first shift.
Sure.
Okay. So, all right. So you're up for the first shift, Jeff, and it's tough staying awake. Like now that you, yeah, actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you making
I'm
endurance.
actually quite injured as well.
Oh, are you really?
Well, remember I got thrown around in the thing? I took 4 endurance damage.
Oh, so what is your? Let me take a look here. I closed up right because I closed the sheet. So here. So I think that if you put minuses in, oh yeah, it does the modifiers already. Wow. Wait, hold on. -4 means you get a 1. Yeah, it does. Oh, that's super fucking cool. When you enter the temporary modifiers, it changes, or temporary changes. It changes the modifier for you. That's fucking cool. Okay, so what I think I need from you then, Jeff, is an endurance check, because you've been hiking for about an hour and a half. You went through that whole thing. You get the shit kicked out of you in the landing, and now you're sitting in the dark. And I think that's going to be a little tricky to keep yourself awake.
So just straight up endurance?
Yes, please. I'm not going to give you any boons or banes on it.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh, yes, you fall fast asleep.
So much for
It's
shit.
just too much of a shit kicking. One second. I think that what you could have. We should check the rules for injury and recovery. So I think you could have actually. Oh, that's in the course of aging. Hold on here. 1 sec here. It referred me to the wrong spot. So there's another one of these things that once I look it up, I won't have to look it up again. So let's see. So that's damage. Now where's recovery? Medical care. Here we go. Okay, so Steve, you got training in medic, don't you?
Yeah.
So we're going to go back a little bit. Is you've seen that Charlie has had effectively the shit kicked out of him in the course of the landing. He was really badly banged around. So why don't you give me a first aid check? Because first aid needs to be initiated within a minute of the injury. I'm assuming this is the first thing you do. You saw he's got a little gash above his forehead. He's limping and grabbing his rib. Give me a first aid plus education, or sorry, medic plus education check, please.
Got it. 5.
No, unfortunately, you're not able to restore any Yeah, anything to help. On the plus side, because you spend a full day of rest, you do get to recover 1d6 plus your endurance dice modifier in characteristics.
Nice. Okay. 1d6.
Well, you're not, unfortunately, you need a full day of rest, not an evening.
Yeah, like that's not sleeping under a tarp in the wilderness type rest.
Yeah. So you fall asleep, and Steve, actually, both of you guys, give me a recon check with 1 Bane.
I don't like this recon stuff. All right. One
What
Bane.
stat is it supposed
I
to
may
be
as well
set
not
to
do
get?
it.
Sorry, what's that, Jeff?
What stat is recon supposed to use?
Recon uses, I think it's endurance, or education rather. But let me check here.
Education.
Let's see.
I'll take that.
Recon, intellect, please.
Ah.
Your intellect's no good?
No.
Whoa, that ain't good. So
No.
with the Bane. Yeah, so Charlie, you're sleeping
Yay.
at the... Okay. So what you guys are woken to is the sound of a deep man's voice shouting, and you hear this, there's this flash of light that leads like sort of like you seeing stars as you're trying to orient yourself, and then the light comes on. Charlie, you realize that you've nodded off. You're not Miltiades, you're not any the wiser as to what the hell happened, and you're looking around, and the Betka sort of is pointing his laser pistol at the side of the tarp, and there's a hole that's been burned in there by his laser pistol. But you can see there are there's a piece of the canvas that has been torn. Rao sort of gets up and looking around, and she says, "Nebetka, what?" And he says, "There was something there. Something was coming in."
Shoot.
The tear is about maybe about a half-foot long, and it starts at about maybe 2.5 feet off the ground, and it ends at about 6 inches off the ground.
What could it be?
Your comm units, when you go into like I said, into a new system, one of the first things it does when it looks up, kind of syncs up with a local network, is that it'll sort of automatically download a, like a Wikipedia entry effectively for this, for the region. So that would over the system. So there may be you may be able to access your comm units to try and figure that out.
Yeah. So that'd be a computers check?
No, it's just common sense. Like, what are you going to access?
Wildlife on this planet. Carnivores.
Files limited. You get in there, and unfortunately, because this, it's been 2,000 years since this place was annihilated, and no one bothers to come down to anywhere. The only reason you would ever come to the surface of Marduk is to go to the low port. They have no idea what the hell's out here. Giant gaps, and like, this is normally where you would be able to access that shit and find it out. Like in future, guys, assuming you survive your being marooned on Marduk, you will be able to use it. Like I wanted to make sure you were aware that it's a resource you will normally have access to. It's just, unfortunately, this planet is in the middle of goddamn nowhere. So
right. Okay.
Okay, well, let's go now. We should go back to sleep.
Everyone sort of has woken up and is rustling, and the Corinne says something in a local dialect, that normally what happens, guys, is when someone says something in like a language that you don't understand, it will, you can just trigger the translation matrix or translation program, and when you go into a new system, what they will do is it'll upload again like the local dialects, so you can just use your comms to translate and communicate effectively with whoever you want to communicate with. The downside is in a place like Marduk, where you don't have that. You do have the benefit, though, of there are translation programs in there as well. It just takes it a while for it to figure out what they're saying. So she says something that sounds like Garen Aimbrait, and the translation kind of just goes Garen Aimbrait automatically. Word not found in vocabulary. It flashes across the screen.
Aimbrait, word not found.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming someone's been woken up at this point.
Yeah, you guys have both been woken up. That's what. Now that your eyes have sort of cleared, some of the other people have turned on their flashlights. The tubby middle-aged guy does as well, or he's probably the first one to do it. And actually, as does Nebetka. And he's got his laser pistol out still and is pointing at the hole, and he's sort of, he's taking a knee effectively near where Rao is lying. She gets up and draws her pistol as well, and says, "Well, what was it? What is that thing? Was there one? Are there more?" And Nebetka sort of shakes his head as if to say, like, "I don't know."
I don't know. I don't know if we should look around or what. I'm a little disoriented here.
Yeah, let's shine our lights around. If it's gone, maybe.
So you're gonna go,
well, yeah.
You're gonna go outside.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to there's like any other kind of tent or whatever else. There's only really one exit. So you hit this and you push open the tent flaps, and it is fucking dark out there. Like, I think you guys have likely both been camping before, where you're so far away from from any kind of urban glare, and this is overcast, so it's fucking black out there. There's still the rain kind of pittering down. You flash your light, and it's just what you're picking up where the beam goes is streaks of rain falling down. What do? You have those, remember those ponchos in your survival kits as well.
Right.
So you can at least keep yourself dry if you want.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Put on a rain poncho and do like a perimeter sweep of our little tent area. So maybe like about 15 feet away from the tent in a circle.
Okay. Describe for me what else you're bringing to you. I want you guys to give me a full...
like basically my weapons, my shotgun that I found on the thing, as well as my sword, whatever it was called.
Is your sword drawn, or are you using like one hand to hold the shotgun? You could effectively like do that thing with holding the shotgun alongside the flashlight.
The flashlight, beside that's probably what so he's got the flashlight at the barrel of the shotgun.
Okay. And I'll bring my sword and have my flashlight in my offhand.
Okay. So you got your sword. Do you activate it?
Yeah. Oh, why not?
Because I think it's got a limited battery life, doesn't it?
Oh, does it? Okay, then.
I think so. I was looking. It's a melee weapon. Give me a sec here.
I won't activate it till I see something.
Okay. What if it sees you first?
Well then.
Okay, static blade. Where are you?
Weapones.
No, there's no. It's effectively got a generator that doesn't have a lifespan to it. The technology is sufficiently advanced. So
well, then let's
waving it around charges it.
All right.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, so you draw it and activate the blade and start stepping out. Would both of you guys make a recon check for me, please? And I'll give you a boon on that. So get to add the boon.
These recon checks. All right. Gotta get some recon.
Oh, nice, Charlie.
Almost good. Well, when you roll 2 6s, then it can still be okay.
Mm-hmm. So you got a 13 on yours. Miltiades, you got a 3, so no.
I believe the boon and banes are added in because on one of my previous rolls that seemed to be the case because my roll was -1, which it couldn't have been unless the bane was added in. Am I wrong?
Could have been your attribute because you're injured. No, the boons and banes is always separate. If you hover over it, it's always just a d6. And you've got no other way, like the interface doesn't have any way of knowing whether it should add or subtract the boon.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just so yours is a 3, so that's not yeah, you're stumbling around out there and you just feel very wet and exposed. And there's a weird like pinging as the rain hits the subtly humming surface of your static blade. And you're sort of looking around and you're stumbling around and it's what was a like loose soil and whatnot. It's just this disgusting mud you're slopping around in right now. Charlie, you rolled well enough that you think, well, if there's, I know there's one place where there likely will be tracks, albeit maybe being filled up by the, by the rain. Is going to be near where that fucking hole is. So you make your way over there and you shine your light down and there are tracks there. And it looks, whatever this creature is, it's, to be honest, it looks like either like some kind of canine or feline prints. And they're pretty big. Like the prints themselves are about the I'm trying to think if they're as big as your palm. They're not quite as big as your palm, just the palm of your hand, but they're pretty close. You sort of go around and you hear sound of splish, 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 splish off in the darkness. You flash your light, and for a split second, you catch the something that stands about. There's like tawny colored fur, like a light orangish brown fur, and you think it stands about as tall as gosh, like just a little higher than what your waist is. You have your shotgun sort of in that direction as well. Do you want to try and take a shot?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a bane on this, but go ahead and make an attack. Hold on, let's see. Is there any other modifiers? We haven't done combat yet. You fought a crashing. What do you call it? You fought a crashing spaceship, but that wasn't super helpful.
No, and I didn't do very well against that.
No, you didn't do terribly well. So this thing's got no. There's no laser sights. It's not. So it'll just be the target number is going to be 8 effectively, but you got a bane on it. So go ahead and make a what is it? Small arms. No, gun combat slugs. Check for me, please.
Excuse me. So it's what's it called?
Gun combat slugs, or ballistic. I think it's slugs.
Oh, I only have one gun combat.
What is the specialty?
Oh, slug. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what this is? Maybe this is right.
Whoa!
Nice.
Shit. fucking nice one. So there is unfortunately a bane on it, so that brings it down to a 9. But still, it's actually a hit. So
Nice.
anyone who's not nearly as who wasn't as fucking awesome at this as you are would have missed. What I need you to roll on shotgun damage is
Dice roller.
where's the gun? Shotgun does 46 damage.
Nice. That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
So 13 damage. Wow. You hear a low sort of like yelping sound. But then this thing disappears into the darkness. You're sort of sweeping around and you don't know where the hell this thing is. I mean, you could try another recon check if you'd like to, but it's going to be a contested roll at this point.
No, I think that might, if it's just a creature or whatever, I think scaring it away might be good enough.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think?
What are you going to do?
What do you think about the tidies?
So you get a shot off there, and then you hear sort of a rustling from behind you, and you hear, you recognize Nebetka's low voice. What was it? Did you hit it?
Yeah, I hit it. I'm not sure what it was. What would I describe it as? Like a
cat dog.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can't tell.
A four-legged beast of this region.
Yeah,
I've never seen one before.
It was big and it was fuzzy.
Big and fuzzy, and I definitely hit it.
Did you kill it?
No, it ran off.
Huh. Was it alone? And then you hear sort of a from somewhere off in the darkness.
No, I don't believe it was.
That's not terribly far away. Like that first one, that sound is you would guess, if you had to guess, that it may be that one that you hit.
Oh, okay.
So you sort of wait and wait. Would you make another recon check? I'll give you a boon because you might be able to hear this, but it's because of the pounding rain. Steve, you can give me a recon as well too with a boon.
Boom! Check it out.
Your roll might be crap, but
we're not really built for surviving in the wastelands.
No.
Boots. You know what? So Charlie, you can't hear it, but Miltiades. So what you've heard is this, this crack, or you heard that the shotgun blast go off, and then what do you think you were doing after you heard that shotgun shot?
Standing quietly, looking around, watching with my light.
Okay, so you're sort of listening, and you heard the conversation between Nebetka and Captain and Charlie, and while they're sort of talking, you heard that howl fairly close to you, and then you hear another off from one direction, and from another direction as well.
Mm-hmm. You got company.
The second two, I mean, the other two howls are from pretty far away, so it's not like they're as close as this other thing, but it does seem like this thing is signaling, pack mates or pride mates or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like halfway. I'm just doing a wolf owl or like my imitation of a wolf owl because that's the best I can do. But it does sound. It sounds almost like partially feline as well. It's got more of that yowly quality that animals or that cats do, instead of a growl that like a canine would do.
Okay.
So,
cat dogs.
What are you guys going to do?
Take up defensive positions. Keep flashing our lights around.
Maybe back at our camp.
Yeah, you guys are in a wide, flat, open area. What do you mean by defensive positions? There's a tent.
Back to back. Back to back around the tent.
Okay.
Circle the wagons.
So Miltiades is saying all these things. Charlie, what are you doing? I'm sort of picturing you around like the flashlight, swirling around.
Freaking out a little bit. He's like, yeah, let's get back to the camp.
So as you guys are stepping, Kareen says again, green and bait, and she seems concerned now. And then there is sort of like, garbling. It's not as difficult. It's not just parroting back what it heard before. It sounds like your comm units, the translator programs, are trying to translate whatever it is she's saying, but still is, vocabulary unrecognized. At this point, I think that the tubby guy steps out as well, and Kareen is out obviously as well too, as is probably Princess Rao, and then finally Evan sort of steps out. And he is fumbling with his poncho, trying to get it over his head. Everyone else has their sort of poncho on. The tubby guy says, "Well, what was it? What'd you see?"
A large furry beast.
And he sort of looks off in the darkness. His eyes big. He's sort of like stabbing out at it with his little flashlight, as trying to catch a glimpse. Where is it? What was it?
It's run off. I'm not sure what it was, but it may be calling for more.
Okay, so would you guys? Hold on, I'm gonna make a roll here. And would you kind of give me another recon check with? You're gonna get a bane on it, unfortunately. Oh, you know what I'm doing, guys? I am fucking up here. The boon bane, it substitutes in. You substitute it for one of your. You don't add it on. It's substituted in. It's just like in like advantage in D&D or something like that, or it becomes a 3K2 roll instead of the other.
Oh, okay.
So, So, okay. So how would you guys do here? Tidies. You got a bane, so substitutes for. Oh yeah. So you got no clue what's going on. Unfortunately, I think you're. Yours is a little higher.
Well, not really. It's a 3.
8 plus 2. I don't know why it's giving you a roll of 6 there. Because you're rolling. I'm hovering over it. You roll a 6 and a 2.
Yeah, and it's plus -2.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like kind of hard to see, but it's actually plus negative.
6 plus 2 plus -2.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so you likewise. So what you hear the sound of like fabric tearing very quickly, and then there's a scream from behind you. And as you turn around, you hear a splish, 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 something splishing off into something big is splishing off into the darkness. Give me a sec here. It is. Ooh. So the tubby guy is kind of like his voice now reaches like a crazy high pitched screech almost. And he's like, somebody attacked me! It's on me! And he kind of runs forward and then sort of, tries to get in the tent and is trying to, get as far away from whatever is there. You guys sort of look and there's whatever was there has run off into the darkness again. Do either of you want to sort of see what's happened to this guy?
Yeah, let's. Miltiades, check them out.
All right.
So
I do.
you look over. Why don't you give me a medic check? Because you guys do have a first aid kit in your survival things. Give me a medicine check, please.
Alrighty, medicine-y.
No beans, no boom.
So what would medic be? That would be education.
Wow. There you go.
I think it's education, yeah. Hey, look at that, Steve. So actually you're able to, first off, what you see is there is a brutal like set of gashes where this guy has been clawed from basically like the mid back and then down the length of his right leg, tearing out the fabric. And it's not terribly deep and it hasn't hit anything. It's bleeding quite a bit, but it's not, fortunately, it hasn't hit any sort of like major, veins or arteries. So you're able to bind it a bit. So mechanically, Steve, because you beat 8 by 2, because the difficulty is 8. Your what do you call it? The effect of this is the amount that you exceed it. So it's 2. That means he gains 2 characteristics back. And that's great because he has lost all of his endurance and was losing some of his dexterity, but you've managed to restore his dexterity and some of his endurance. So he's not at a 0 right now.
Nice.
He's gonna be in bad shape. Like it will be tough keeping him going. But
do I need to cauterize it with my sword?
Your sword, it doesn't do heat that way. It's not like a lightsaber.
Okay.
It sort of like hums at a specific frequency to cut through shit. So if you did that, you may take his leg off or something.
A vibroblade.
Exactly. It's kind of that's what the static blade is. It creates a, well, it doesn't vibrate, but I can't remember what the description is, but it's not like there's no heat that comes from it.
Gotcha.
So you're able to treat him, but yeah, something has cut this guy's leg quite badly and has disappeared off. What do you say about that, Miltiades?
I say, okay. Well, we've got one nasty injury here. I don't know if it would help to be in the tent.
Yeah, I better get him in the tent.
Yeah.
Okay. So you bring him into the tent. Nebetka encourages Rao to go in as well. And then he walks over to you, and Corinne and Evan come over as well to you guys and says, what? Evan says, I couldn't see what happened.
I didn't see what happened either. He just, there was some commotion and he screamed.
These things are slick hunters. They come in and they slash and then they dive out of the range of vision again.
He says, so they're just waiting to pounce?
It would seem.
And he's looking around wide-eyed. Why don't they just do it then?
They're going to pick us off one at a time. Maybe we should create a circle of lights and keep them moving.
Unfortunately, do we have anything that we can use to light a fire? Oh, it's raining like crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Hi.
Do you want me to read off what you've got in your survival kit again?
Yeah, sure.
So you got a small knife, you've got fire starting equipment, you've got a cold light flashlight, good for about 24 hours of operation. You've got 6 chemical light sticks, good for about 12 hours each. You've got a blanket or poncho and a head cover that you're all wearing right now to protect from the rain.
Yeah.
4 days preserved rations for one person. You've got a water bottle, compass, a light cord, mirror, a water purification tablets, and survival manual.
So
didn't you say that there was a hole nearby?
Nope.
No, we couldn't find any shelter at all.
Right.
Shit. And the fire starting stuff's not going to help us in this heavy rain.
No. Let's put one flashlight on a string and then swing it around really fast in a circle, and so it'll light up everything in a 360 radius.
I don't think that'll work that way. Also, with your luck, what will happen is you'll do that, and it'll just go zing turn off the end of the rope and fly off into the mud.
Gone.
So what are you guys gonna do?
I don't know if there is much to do. Like get in a tight circle, I guess. I mean, the very first attack came right through our tarp, right? So.
You didn't ask Nebetka what he saw actually, because it all sort of happened so fast.
Oh, but I thought you said we saw a hole in the torn in the tarp.
You saw a hole in the tarp, but you're not sure how that, like whether it was.
Oh, whether he did that? Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like survival is not my thing. I have 0. I'm used to surviving in the ocean planet where I grew up.
Right. You're our best hope. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I guess I'll make a survival roll to see if I have any idea at all on strategy against these things.
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me a roll. See how you do. Let's see if there's any insight you could.
Throw him the bleeding guy.
Yeah, we may have to give him the.
Well, you rolled an 8, so well, you know, I mean, like past experience with survival, like in dangerous environments, like this type of survival that you would experience in the Traveler universe. This isn't like, you know, like say me, right? Like I love camping. And I think I'm a fairly experienced camper, but like I don't go out into like, you know, dangerous animal-filled wilderness.
Right.
I would not be equipped well to go into like a tiger-filled jungle, right? And that's similar to where this is where you would have that. Like you actually would be concerned because of the, you know, if it's a place where you are able to camp and whatever, then if there aren't native animals that are potentially dangerous, there may have been transplanted animals or specifically like gene-tailored animals that were released by settlers at some point during the, you know, thousands of years of civilization out there. So you have to be aware that there are dangers associated with being in the wild. Like, you know, there's not casual camping on untamed wilderness like this. This is closer to being like on the edge of civilization in, like, say, you know, the Wild West than, you know, weekend camping. That said, fire normally keeps animals at bay, but a big fire will potentially also, you know, be a sign for those if there are pirates that are looking around for survivors from the crash,
or just wasteland wanderers.
Yeah, and you're also sort of kicking yourself because you guys made no effort to try and hide that survival kit. You dragged it out of the ship, kind of grabbed what you needed and left it there.
Right.
That shit wouldn't have fallen out, so even the thickest pirate would be aware that there were survivors who have accessed some of the survival gear and are somewhere out there. So what do you guys think?
We're not the nicest of guys. So Charlie grabs Miltiades and he heads over to talk with the princess in a private conversation.
Okay. So Nebeka, as you guys walk over, what do you say to get them away? Because right now you've got Evan and Corinne outside as well too, the young girl who's a native from Marduk, and Evan, the what do you call it, the Varger.
Right. I don't know, Steve. I'm gonna pitch your idea.
Nice.
So, do you think we would let them follow us, or just like tell them to stay back for a second? Maybe we don't care if they hear.
Right.
Well, One thing I want to point out just for the situation, guys, remember that you are the only light that there is right now is the tiny amount that's coming from your flashlights.
Right.
Okay. So they're probably, well, it's not that we're trying to be like far away from them.
Right. Just like even a few steps away into the darkness when you're in that kind of environment can feel very fucking dangerous. And remember, that thing that just savaged that guy is still out there.
Right. Well, then maybe we won't even try and talk in private. We'll just talk right here. And if people object, they object.
Okay.
So I turn to her and I say, Your Highness, we can barely see these things coming. I'm not sure that we can fend them off. I'm sure they're just hungry. We may have to sacrifice one of our own to protect the lives of the group.
Unless the rations will do.
We could try feeding them some of our rations.
Miltiades, do you you haven't told anyone that, because you're the only one who heard those other howls from further away.
Well, I definitely mentioned it. I'm like, there's obviously more than one out there.
What I want you guys to do, because we want to encourage the more like verisimilitude and stuff like that. If you're going to do that, do that in character. I don't want you guys to assume, like, don't metagame it and assume that, well, because my character knows that, then whatever. That's also a way for you to interact with the NPCs. The nature of a sandbox game is going to require you guys to interact with NPCs and stuff like that. And the more you can stay in character while you're doing that and describe your character doing specific things.
Right. That's why I was trying to speak to the princess.
All right. Miltiades says, sorry. Go on.
And Jeff, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying, like, be aware of what the sort of circumstances are. So, like, if you wanted to, one of the ways that you guys could communicate it secretly with each other, at least, and not have anyone else know, is through your comm devices. Comm devices can send text just like cell phones, right?
Right.
Nice.
So what we could be seeing, like the movie version of this, if we could see you guys, sort of texting back and forth.
Okay, yeah, I never thought of the fact that we have like smartphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
They don't have smartphones in the future.
Well, this game we do, so that's nice.
Smart communicators.
Yeah. I don't know, Steve. So do you think that that's a good idea to act like? I definitely, like, if she's some kind of royalty here, like, we definitely need her consent, or we'll be going off to the stockades or the prison if.
Can I point out one other thing too, guys? There's another way I'm thinking of here too, and this is just because I want you to think of the more you can visualize where you are and what you've got access to and stuff like that, the more you're going to come up with, the mothers, the necessity of invention kind of stuff. Remember, like, what would be a way to pass a message to someone else with your smartphone? If you don't have their number or whatnot, like, what's preventing you from typing something out on the screen and then
just showing it to her?
Exactly.
Right.
We don't have her number.
Okay.
I already tried to get that.
Right. So, like, rather than I know what you're saying. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, he types that. He says, we can barely see these creatures coming.
You know what? Type out in chat.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you type in there?
Should we sack the businessman? Should we sacrifice? Yeah.
Right.
We could sacrifice one of the gang.
Well, again, Steve, stay in character. If you guys are having that conversation, people will hear it. So if you want to,
that's what I'm texting.
So you'll then text it. You've got access to the chat feature. Type down exactly what you say.
Okay, Miltiades starts typing on his phone, and he approaches the princess.
Yeah. So type out in chat what you're doing, just like Jeff's doing.
Wait a second, it's the wrong chat. All right. There we go. Charlie is typing. Okay, go ahead and type, Charlie.
A little long, but I want to be able to say those things.
Okay. So, Jeff, why don't you read, just for the sake of the viewers at home, why don't you read off what you've... Yeah, right.
We can barely see these creatures coming. I'm not sure we can fend them off. They are surely just hungry. Should we sacrifice the businessman for the survival of the group?
Okay. Miltiades now might be a cool way to share that there's more, that there's more than one. As far as, because again, remember, Jeff, you don't know if there's more than one. You only heard the one.
So maybe that's actually a message that I sent to Steve, to Miltiades, and I'm showing it to her.
Okay. So let's see what
Miltiades can respond to it.
Oh, I love that, Steve. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So, Steve, go ahead and read out what you wrote.
Okay. We need to be careful. There are more than one.
So that's new information for you, Jeff.
Right.
Okay, Jeff, we should read out what you wrote.
The situation is beyond our training or skills.
And Miltiades adds, and equipment.
So the princess sort of looks at the two of you. She looks over at Corinne and Evan, and then casually types something into her comm unit. And what did she type back, guys?
She says, what if it simply gives it a taste of fresh meat? They've already had a taste.
Miltiades says they're already after fresh meat.
She types in. So what has she written to you guys?
We need to get a message to the high board.
Okay. How do we do that? Signal it with our flashlights?
To orbit?
Yeah.
So Charlie says, we don't have the equipment for that.
You do. Your comm will work. It's just that the signal may need to be from a higher vantage.
Right. Unfortunately, we have to survive the night to even see where we're going.
You do.
Okay. Well, let's just start talking now. And I'll say to her, well, we need to survive the night in order to even signal them.
Evan sort of looks over and says, signal who? Did you hear from someone? I can't get any. Holds up his comm unit and says, I can't get through to anyone. Static. You don't think that they couldn't destroy the high port, could they?
I don't think so. I think we just need to get to some higher ground.
Yeah, like like the high port is so big. I know, like we haven't rolled through any kind of like ship combat or anything like that. Like it would need to be a military scale fleet to take out the spaceport. Like it would have to be, when you guys came in, you saw those giant missile defenses and stuff like that. Pirates aren't. That's not what the types of ships. They go in to grab shit, fill up their cargo holds, and get the fuck out of there. They don't come in with full military. And like you can't think of any military unless if the Aslan were somehow this far in, maybe, or if even then, like, because trade is so important in this region, that just seems unthinkable. So you think it's unlikely, just there may be some other reason why you're not able to get through right now. So what are you thinking of, guys? We're coming to the end of the session here. So what's sort of the plan? Are you gonna try and make a break for it, or are you gonna try and just survive the night.
Yeah, maybe that's what he says. Like, maybe we just need to move up our timeline and make a run for it and try to find some high ground.
So give me a sec here. So if one thing to bear in mind is that the what Miltiades experience is that if you try to make a break for it here, because there's the ruins of a city around here too, it is fairly uneven ground, and you won't know where the fuck you're stepping. So you could really you're trained. It's the reason like you don't go hiking in the dark, right? Like, as you could turn your ankle, and if you turn your ankle, like, oh boy, you are in a world of trouble then.
Right.
I'm just checking to see what you used one shot from the shotgun, and you had 5 spares. The shotgun has a magazine of 6. So you got 10 shots left with the shotgun. You do have 50 rounds for that rifle, though, so there is that.
Right.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys are just going to try and like survive the night here.
I think that's our chance.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, would you make Jeff I think it's give me an intellect check at and Steve, you got that rifle. Are you taking your rifle out, or are you still carrying your sword? Steve, you there?
Yep. So it's about time to take out. I think actually my bone pistol.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you guys both give me an intellect check? Just a raw check for me too. I got to quickly go to the washroom. I'll be right back. So I've had a ton of coffee today.
A gun check?
Intellect?
Intellecting, nice. Very intellectual. What do we do? Do we feed him the businessman?
Yeah. No, I don't think we do that.
It's a bit cold. Yeah, they might come back for more food if they think they can get away with it.
So yeah, I think we just gotta try and hold our position.
Yeah, maybe we make a circle back to back and then flash the flashlights around outwards in a circle. Try to see him coming. Maybe I give the rifle to the businessman or my sword or something, so that everybody's got a weapon.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming the bodyguards have some kind of weapons.
Hey, sorry about that.
Yeah,
guys.
sure.
Here's how we do here. Okay, good. You know what? So you guys did well enough. What I was getting you to roll for is to see if you were spooked into firing off any shots in the darkness, because what you still hear, like splash, 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 splash. Something's moving, well out of range, but you can hear it moving. So throughout the evening, you're kind of, back and forth. And I think what I'm going to do is give me an endurance check as well.
A what check?
Endurance, please. And this will be the last thing. I just want to see how well you're doing by morning.
Oh, well, I'm going to be in bad shape.
Come on, give us a good roll here. 6.
Ooh.
Nice.
Okay, so you're both
That's actually an incredibly good roll considering the state that I'm in.
This is very true. Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, so Charlie, is your endurance at a 0 right now?
No.
Okay, so lose 1 more point of endurance, and Steve, you lose a point of endurance as well.
All right.
Just from of like staying kind of on edge, adrenaline pounding all night.
Now I'm at 0.
As the dull gray, more light of morning begins sort of peeking over, You can see the rain thankfully begins to subside, so it's just cold and damp, and you can hear the sloshing of moving around. And as the light, the sort of that hazy light of early dawn comes, you're looking around and you can see that there are a bunch of tracks. Charlie, you can probably see it, but there's no sign of these things apart from a single kind of off from one specific direction. What's the plan for this day, guys?
Ooh, move it.
Yeah, continue in the direction we've been heading and try to find some high ground where we can make communication to Highport.
The direction you've been heading is sort of perpendicular to where that howl came from. Did you want to head away from where the howl is?
Yeah, slightly more away from the howl, but not a directly right angle turn, basically.
Okay. So okay, so then that's what we'll sort of leave the session with you guys beginning to pack up camp, and we will have to see what happens to our travelers marooned on Marduk in 2 weeks' time. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for this. Let me stop sharing here. I'll hop out of 20, put the camera back on. Okay, so yeah, so for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for the session 2 of our Traveler campaign. Hope you've enjoyed. I know I have enjoyed seeing you guys deal with being... Kev, you told us we're playing a fucking spaceship game. Why are we marooned on a planet? So, yeah, we'll see you folks in 2 weeks' time. Next week is going to be character creation for Deadlands Noir. So if you're curious about the Savage World system in general and about the Deadlands Noir setting of kind of Depression era horror, we will be creating some characters for that in a week's time. So as always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will endeavor to respond in a timely fashion. Otherwise, we will see you again very soon.